All right. So this is representation from each of our 3 homes, and we're going to give a little conversation on good changes that occurred during COVID. We thought we'd start with just a little video. This was a video we created, New Year, New Energy, just to share some of the insights. You know, we heard a lot about, and we'll talk more about Eden Alternative a little bit, but everything was just so devastating in the news, and it certainly was devastating. And the whole theory of loneliness and boredom and all that stuff in the senior living world was certainly, you know, all over the news and in the paper. And I know from our perspective, that wasn't necessarily the case. We see ourselves as family with the elders that are in our homes, and we just kept running with that. We became even more family, and we improvised and we did things that that I think were unique and helped everybody get through it. And we grew closer and everything. So this it's about 4 minutes, little video, hopefully gives some insight different than what the news and radios and paper said. So I will go ahead and share this briefly, and then we'll get into some of the topics. So share. See that. Can you guys hear the music?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay, good.
Yes.
So just a little glimpse of what happened in our homes, and you know, we finished there with our appreciation for the families. I can't get emotional thinking about this and even talking about it at all. We have the most amazing families at all three homes. This was just a unbelievably difficult year on so many fronts for everybody. And our families were amazing. They were the most supportive, loving you could ever ask for, as well as the team. And the weight that went on the team to keep the elders safe and being there for them every single day. It was amazing. So I couldn't thank the team and families enough. So with that said, let's jump into today, and I'll hand it over to Yolanda Arrey from Sierra Vista, who I have to share is the Social Service Director of the Year in 2020. We had 5 finalists amongst our 3 homes, and Yolanda was the winner for social services, and her counterpart, the executive director, won Executive Director of the Year. And we had someone at the Arbors that was amazing, that's been with us for 19 years last week, that also won. So Yolanda Arrey, your floor. Hope you got to unmute. There you go.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Luke. Hello, my name is Yolanda Arrey, and I am the Social Services Director of Sierra Vista in Santa Fe, New Mexico. And we specialize in caring for those that have dementia or Alzheimer's. I will be the moderator for this group discussion. Today, our panelists are Amanda Aragon, our Executive Director of Vista Hermosa here in Santa Fe, New Mexico, and also Monica Leos, our Assistant Executive Director from Arbors in Las Cruces. And of course, our President and owner, Luke Knocktrop, and also our tax expert. Amanda, will you start out by sharing with us your philosophy of care, your approach, and how COVID has impacted your home?
Yeah, I think we're the 3 homes, we all share a very similar approach to care. I know we are all a home style, person-centered place where we love to focus on our elders as individuals, and we get to know them for who they are. We've always believed that we're a business second, and that we look at our elders as family. They're our family members, and we don't look at them as numbers in our business. And one of our goals here at Vista Hermosa is that our elders feel like we are their home. When they come in here, they have an ownership to our home, and you know, from helping prep meals to baking afternoon snack, feeding our animals, to moving the furniture to their liking. We want them to have that sense of ownership and at their home by engaging by these daily simple pleasures. And you know, one of the approaches that we always love to take with our elders is just putting ourselves in their world, as Yuda and Ruth were speaking earlier, you know, putting yourself in that time frame, whether it's they're back in their teaching days, they're back in their police officer days. You know, we want to validate what their thoughts and feelings are. We never want to discredit them for what they're saying, and they really feel empowered by it. You know, you can just see it on them, and they feel that you give them that respect and heard. And that has always been one of our goals, is to make sure that they are heard. COVID has definitely impacted this community greatly, and you know, it's been rough, but I am also grateful for it. I feel like COVID has definitely brought our team together and brought us all made us all stronger. We've all had to become very creative with the things we're doing in home to make sure our elders aren't skipping a beat with their routine. But we've definitely gotten through it. So thanks to a wonderful team, and our families are so supportive. And we're just a really big family.
Monica, do you have anything to add to what Amanda has said about the COVID impacting your home?
Yes, well, on the COVID impaction, it was a very dark time when COVID did hit our facility. But once again, we just rose right through it. We learned the strengths that we really never knew that we even had. We embraced our loved ones. I mean, we were their family. Back to our philosophy, you know, we're more of an individualized type of care. We're person-centered. We want to get to know more of them so that way we can connect and our approaches can be successful. And that's very important. Not only do we embrace the elder, but also our families. You know, they're also included in our one big extended family. And I think that's what's so important about our philosophy here at Vista Living. We're one big family, and that's what brought us through this horrible pandemic of the COVID. But I think it's just, as Amanda said, has made us stronger and better than ever.
And what does creative caregiving mean to you at Arbors?
Well, we do creative activities throughout the whole day. I mean, it's part of our backbone. Our activities program, I mean, that's what keeps our daily life going here. We want to include our elders in a lot of the daily activities that happen throughout. Activities is very, like I said, shared throughout the day. And that's just not just the activity director, it's also the caregivers that play an important role in keeping that creativity alive and making sure that our elders are not bored, are being included, and have fun, which is most important.
Thank you. We practice the Eden Alternative philosophy in our home. We are the first and only facility that is in the Eden Alternative registry. And in the culture that typically views aging as a period of decline, the Eden Alternative philosophy asserts that no matter how old we are or what challenges we face, life is about continuing to grow. The Eden Alternative philosophy is focused on the care of the human spirit as well as care of the human body. Dr. Bill Thomas, the co-founder of the Eden Alternative, calls the three plagues of nursing homes loneliness, helplessness, and boredom. During COVID, Sierra staff quickly learned that the three plagues were not only about our elders. Family members were no longer able to spend time with us. It did not change for elders as much as for the elders. It did not change for elders as much as for the families. We helped the families engage by sending postcards, emailed pictures, and connected family using iPads, especially when elders were having a good time. We would come into the elders' world, capturing as many moments as we could. These are some of the examples we did at Sierra. Amanda, would you share with us how Vista Hermosa supported families?
Yeah, I think, you know, especially now during COVID, like I said, we had to get really creative. But one of the things that the Eden Alternative has definitely taught us is that we are all care partners. Everybody is a care partner. And, you know, we all have to unite together to become just making it more a personable thing. When we created postcards for families, you know, our elders wrote sweet messages for their loved ones to mail out with pictures of activities that they're participating in, helping feed the animals, and just focusing on their abilities, the elders' abilities, and not their disabilities. You know, that is a huge thing where we always encourage them to do the things they can do. And we loved the window visit the window that Arbors had presented the idea for. And it was a really nice way for our elders and families to feel connected during these hard times through FaceTiming, iPad calls, and we have a nice big new path outside that our elders really enjoy walking up to the animals enclosure and just being a part of taking care of the plants and just grooming the dog, helping make meals. We just kind of stuck together through it with this COVID and had to be creative.
Monica, I'd love to hear the story on the whole window thing down in Las Cruces. We act every single week, the three facilities, there's about 10 of us that jump on a Zoom call like this, and we're constantly sharing ideas, what's working, what's not working. So this year during COVID, it was even more like, okay, how do we tackle this together? And this was just a really unique, creative thing that came out of Las Cruces. So
Yeah, let me expand on that more. Back in mid-March, that's when everything kind of just shut down. And it was hard. It was hard for our families, to not be able to see their parents or their brother or sister. And so we saw that. They were really struggling with that. The phone calls weren't enough. So obviously they needed to see their loved ones. They would go through the window up at the front. And so we noticed that obviously this is the new normal. We got to make it special for them and comfortable as well. So with our creativity, our employees, we decided to have a contest and actually name our window. And that's when we came up with Love Brings Us Together. So that is the name of our window. We went ahead and we decorated it. We had floral garland, both on the inside and the out. We made seating arrangements for the outside for the families to sit comfortably and visit, as well as the inside as well. It was such a special place. We had our families visit with maybe bringing a beverage or a treat or even a meal to go ahead and spend time with their loved ones. A microphone was also bought to make it easier for them to hear, each other. So it got so popular that we had to tend to appointments to make sure that everybody had their nice share of time. It was very important to see how these people connected. Two events or life events that really came to mind was that one of our residents, one of our elders, her granddaughter got married back in October of last year. And she wanted, of course, to share that special day with her grandmother. So on the day of her wedding, I believe they just got married at a home. She came by with her wedding dress, and of course her groom and the whole family had joined her. And so grandma was at the window waiting for her, and it was such a beautiful sight to see. You can just tell that grandmother just enjoyed just watching her granddaughter in her white dress. Another time was a grandbaby. It was a great-granddaughter that also came to the window. She had just been born, and the family wanted to share her with our elder here. And so there was like at least 5 or 6 family members that came to the window with the newborn, and they wanted to see the expression on our elder's face. And so that was also another life event that was just priceless. I know that our caregivers, our staff members were really touched by that. So even though it was done in a different way, the emotion was still very there. It was very raw, and it was very heartfelt. So we're very proud of our window. It changes with the themes of the season, as in autumn decor, and then it went into the Christmas decor. So it still is our biggest, I think, accomplishment that came out of this pandemic.
Amanda, what role do activities play at Vista Hermosa as it relates to creative food caregiving?
Activities are everything in our home. We utilize activities to just with everything we do, from food preparation, watering plants, aiding and grooming the dog. We utilize activities as a tool to help us redirect. We ask an elder to help us shred papers and give them that sense of fulfillment by helping us. Like as you just said, can I give you a hand? Not, can I do it for you? And they feel like they're contributing to their household. Another thing with our activities program is art. Ruth has definitely shifted my thought on art for sure. Just the sense of happiness it brings our elders and accomplishment that they feel when they finish an art project, whether it's pottery, acrylics, or any type of art. We have this huge mural in our dining room right now that our elders did together, and they also did 2 pieces that were in the Alzheimer's Association, that virtual event. And it's just, activities is just everything we do every day. We try to turn all of our daily tasks into an activity to just incorporate our elders and make them feel a part of the team and not just, cared for all the time. They like to give back and feel like they're contributing.
I think one of the main activities that we also share down here in Arbors is our mealtime. That is a huge deal for us every day when it comes to breakfast, lunch, and dinner. We set our table up. We have our placemats set with our utensils and our napkins. They're all of a solid color. Okay, we don't want to use it. We use contrasting colors so we don't confuse the individual more. When you use patterns and prints, that may be a little too overwhelming for the individual. So we're also very careful on how we actually serve the food on the plate. We try to minimize the items on the plate by maybe having no more than 3. Once again, we want to simplify as much as possible. There's actually the senses that we want to go ahead and address to each of the meal times, like I mentioned. We want to go ahead and start with the noise level. That also needs to be at a low level. Conversation, of course, is at table-sided, not shouting across the room or anything like that. Here at the Arbors, we want to play a soft music. You know, that's usually in the background. We don't have the TV going on one side or a high traffic area on the other. You know, a meal is to be enjoyed by all. So we want to make sure that we touch on each of these senses. Of course, the smell. You know, we want to make sure that we are making food that smells wonderful. I know that when I smell bacon, my mouth waters. So that's what we want to have. We want to create that type of atmosphere to stimulate that, you know, that appetite as well. Taste also, that's very important to be included in their food. We take into consideration that down here they love chili. So we use a lot of red and green chili, a lot of barbecue. Anything that's very flavorful will go ahead and enhance also their nutritional needs. And then of course, touch. You know, sometimes at the end of this disease, they might not be able to hold a fork, you know, or use any type of utensil. So we may have to resort to finger foods. We cut up like sliced up fruit, small sandwiches, maybe they love corn dogs, and anything that can easily be handled by them. So once again, we want to go ahead and make sure that their meal time is an activity that they enjoy. It's very important for them to have their nutritional needs being met, but at the same time, they also need to have it as a social event. And that's how we like to see it here at the Arbors.
Monica, would you continue by sharing with us what you see in the future? What do you want to see in the future for caregiving?
Well, I think ideally we would like more staff. I mean, more of a one-to-one type of care is basically what we would want is a future type of care. But there's also another therapy that we've introduced here at the Arbors, and it's called snoozolin therapy, and that's for Alzheimer's dementia patients. It's also used with people that have severe disabilities, learning disabilities, or even brain injuries. And it's a type of therapy that is a multisensory stimulation, and it's created in a room. It has to do with certain lighting. We might dim the room down and then have optical lights, maybe like a projected screen that shows an aquarium with fish going by. This is to promote calmness. For those that have agitation, anxiety, or any type of behaviors, they will go ahead and come into these rooms, and hopefully we can see the reduction of that anxiety and agitation. It is meant to soothe and calm the individual. Also, texture is very important. So having soft pillows or blankets, anything that they can touch and feel some sort of soothing, calming sensation is also another plus that's used in these rooms. So it's more of a, like I said, it's a multisensory stimulation therapy. And we've done it with most of our late stage residents, and it has worked. Some people can only tolerate 15 minutes. Others can go for a couple of hours. So it just depends. And this is just another way of, you know, trying not to use any type of chemical restraints. You know, we want to go ahead and change their environment to make sure that that agitation level is kept at a minimum. And that's what we're going to be focusing in more this year as well. We want to definitely build on it, and hopefully we can make it successful throughout the whole facility.
Luke, would you like to share with us how you have supported the staff during this time of COVID?
Sure, absolutely. I guess I want to add a little bit real quick if I can, because I think we'll probably have some time, to the whole food thing. We have a saying, we laugh, we cook, we dance. And those are kind of the mottos. We have several different things that we live by. Amanda mentioned a business second is one, but we laugh, we cook, we dance. And it's really part of our culture is, I don't know about all of you, but my family, we laugh, we cook, we dance. Like we have fun together and we enjoy life and cooking. My mom is a farmer, makes great food and stuff. So mealtime was always critical in my home growing up and to today. And so we have a thing that we started, I think it was last year, actually. We cook honors. And so to focus on food, to kind of piggyback what Monica said, is that it's one of the most important, if not the most important activities of the day. And so we really emphasize it. The plates that we share, we do this thing 3 times a month. We'll say, okay, what are you having for breakfast? And we have a big group chat and we share the pictures, and it's all random. And it's a really fun thing that we do that helps us focus on food to make sure all the things that Monica touched base on are kind of part of the everyday way of living in the homes. And it brings the team together. It gives each other ideas and stuff. And it's really cool. It's been a fun thing. But as everything that we've been talking about is with respect to COVID and how it affected us, is we just did everything in our power to try to keep it as normal as possible. Yes, we had to wear masks. We had to put shields on, all these things, and we couldn't have visitors. So every single week, our emphasis was, okay, what can we do? Not dwell on the things that now we can't do. What can we do? How can we get better? And just the simple thing, which didn't turn out to be very simple, that the team at the Arbors came up with, was the living better, not the living better together, the Love Brings Us Together window. It was just a subtle thing of adding the speaker so that the elder and the family could hear each other. And when it got hot, they added misters, and just trying to create an environment as close to being in a family room as we possibly could. But we really tried to do that. And what I saw, and Ruth touched on it earlier, for those of you that were on earlier, is it was the spouses and the visitors that, to me, it was painful to watch, that were experiencing the loneliness and the boredom. And we started living better together. And it was sessions like this every week, every month, that the families could get on and see each other, and we could have some time together, because we missed them. Our families are just as important to us as the elders, and to not have them in the home was a really big void for us, because they're part of our community and part of our daily love. So we just did everything we could to keep it as normal as possible. And there was just a lot of effort and energy put to that. So for the team, speaking of people that were impacted, my heart just went out to our team almost every week. Every day they're coming in 10, 12-hour days, masks, shields, gowns, gloves, going home to worrying that their loved one could get it. And it was the amount of stress and emotion and weight on them was way more than I ever thought. We planned so much on how do we keep COVID out of the homes, and there was all this energy that was put towards that. And then all of a sudden you start saying, oh my gosh, our team is really struggling with this. We lost an elder, and they were homesick and came home, and their elder was gone. And so for a big part of, I would say, the fourth quarter, we began really trying to think, okay, how do we help the team? Because it's not just the loved ones that are experiencing the loss, it's our team. The elders and their families are family to us. We don't really think about it, but we live with them. I mean, our care partners are there 40, 50, 60 hours a week. Our leadership is there that much. And they really become family. And so a lot of what we did for the team, we arranged group therapy, we arranged individual therapy, and really looked at how we can help them. Obviously, a fair amount of financial bonuses and stuff went out this year just to recognize them as best we could, because we couldn't do the normal things that we would do, like celebrate a birthday or have a Christmas party at a nice meal and rent a limo or something for them, or we weren't able to do that stuff. So a big focus at Vista, in particular this year, really is, okay, how do we become better for our team and help our team get through not just loss this year, but moving forward. So hopefully that answers you. question, Yolanda.
Yes, and I would just like to comment that we are so grateful that we have Luke that oversees us to make sure that we are taken care of. He has provided for us some counseling. We've been devastated with the loss of our elders. It has been so hard because they become our family, and the grieving process is a long process, and the support we've gotten to be able to get the therapy that we need is very, we're so grateful for that. And it's wonderful to work for a place that recognizes you in its entirety. So in closing, Luke, do you want to just go ahead and ask if we have any questions of our guests?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. I know we had one you'd asked, does our staff eat with the elders, with the residents?
Yes. Yes, they do. Yes, because some of them do, they need assistance, and so they're actually part of the table and the table mate, and so that's done regularly here.
Amanda, how about you guys?
Here at Hermosa, we haven't shared a meal, but our caregivers do sit down as a table mate with them at the table to give that hands-on care.
And I think we do the same. We do sit and help them eat, and because we need to assist them. So that is part of the care that we give.
I know I've definitely sat and ate with some of the elders and cleaned up the dishes, which always makes the care partners uncomfortable. Just how I was raised. Clean up your plates. Sally asked, what is the waiting time to apply for a place at Vista? So I can answer that one. Right now, we have some space at all three of the homes, but typically it can vary. It can really vary. It can be months and months, or it can be, part of it is it's God's will. Let's see here. So Nicolette asks, what changes were implemented during COVID? Will you maintain long terms in regards to care of elders and staff? So that's a good question. I can kind of touch on it, and then maybe Monica and Amanda and Yolanda, if you want to add to it. This is one of the $1 million questions. How is our economy and society going to change and look moving forward? And I believe we're probably going to deal with some sort of COVID for a very long time. My hope is that we're able to open up for visitation sooner than later. And what that looks like, I don't know, but it's probably not going to be the same as it was. So I could anticipate having, very isolated visitations where it's, more structured than what it was before, just coming into home and sitting on the couch with the community. I'd anticipate the staff probably wears some sort of mask for a while, if not forever. Honestly, I don't know if you guys have seen it, but there's a lot less colds. There's a lot less flus. Part of it is just, it's kind of a nice thing. So the key is just making it comfortable. It's really, especially when you get into the KN95s and the N95 masks, it's really uncomfortable. And then you throw a shield on it and gloves and gowns. It's hard to work 8, 10, 12 hours like that, especially when you're busy working around. So those are some of the things that I would think would continue. A lot of the other stuff, we try to have full-time staff so that they're not working multiple jobs. We try to not share between homes. You don't want visitors coming in for no reason. You try to be very aware of the activity in the home and try to keep it normal and not a revolving door regardless. So some of that stuff I think we were somewhat used to already. But Amanda, I don't know if you want to touch on some of your thoughts on that.
No, that sounds right. I think one for me for Hermosa that we want to continue is just the self-care of the staff, continuously checking in. We did a lot of preparation for COVID. We had a plan of how everything was going to be laid out, where we were going to isolate, but we did not prepare for the emotional impact that it had And so I think definitely just keeping up on morale boosting exercises and checking in our team, making sure everybody's doing good and are healthy, both mentally, physically, and we can feel a difference.
Yeah, and I agree with Amanda. I think it's taking care of each other. And that's what's gotten us through this. And so we got to make sure that everyone's okay still. Some, you know, have gone through a roller coaster of emotions, but it's just, you know, touching base with them, making sure they're okay. Because if they're okay, then our elders are going to be fine as well. So that's definitely something that we're going to focus on as well this year. Our mind being.
Yeah, I think that well-being is very important. I think most of us know how hard and what it is like to have COVID, and always continuing to check with each other and the well-being and how they're feeling, and just be open to sharing with them that, you know, this is going to get better. But like Luke says, we're probably not going to be able to see things as they were. They need to change, and this pandemic has been devastating, but we're going to survive it. We're going to be stronger and better at it, and we're hopefully going to be more prepared if something like this happens again.
Go ahead, Ruth. I can tell you want to say something.
I actually, and part of it's the proud mother hen piece of me. You guys are great. But another piece of this is that one part that Vista has really thought about a lot in the past year is how do we make not just life for our families and elders better, but how do we make life for our community better? And we've really engaged in food drives and the Alzheimer's Association and, you know, groups like Memory Care Alliance, this conference, and trying to really get support out. I have a huge debt of gratitude toward Southwestern College for their, and Kitty Fallon for their support to our staff, and Yael. You know, there are amazing people out there doing great work. And I think one of the roles that Vista has embraced this year is community and partnership, and our responsibility for that. And these guys all rock with it. And Blanca too. I see Blanca without a face.
Blanca is amazing. She's here too. Couple other questions came through. This is from Yuta, has the staff been vaccinated? And I believe Las Cruces has received both vaccine shots.
We're
Correct?
scheduled to receive our second one next week
Okay.
for our elders and our staff.
And then same thing with Santa Fe. I know that they've received their first one, and the second one's probably coming up here soon.
Both Sierra and Hermosa are going to receive the second dose on Thursday
Okay, cool.
of this week.
Yeah. Let's see here. What else do we have? Lots of good compliments. Oh, the retention. Yuta, I don't know what everyone else is, but our average employee, which can be kind of skewed, has been with us for over 4 years. And I think if you just go to Care Partners, I think it's north of like 2.5 or 3. So that's I think pretty good.
You're also forgetting that Michael and I have been here for 19 and 23 years.
There's a lot we do. Yeah, we love our team.
Nationwide, the average is under a year.
Oh,
Wow.
And not only that, it costs a fortune to change, to hire new staff.
yeah, it is. Especially Santa Fe, it is hard to find good staff. It can definitely be very difficult. We're blessed, definitely blessed.
Yeah. I feel like what contributes to that is Luke is always saying people care for people. And I feel like that just is engraved in who we are as a team, and we all truly do care for each other, and it reflects on the care that is provided for our elders. And it's
You're
true.
right. You're right. But I have to tell one little quick anecdote. One of the other facilities in town, the one near Sam's Club, fired one of the staff because she had the nerve to sit down and talk to one of the residents.
Wow.
She was supposed to be up and working.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Out the door. I mean, yeah, this is insane.
Can you give me her name?
Luke's got a
One-
shot for her.
One thing that our executive director down in Las Cruces has really shifted my paradigm for is, what's the rush?
Exactly.
You know, we're on their elders time, we're in their home. And that really hit me hard this year because, you know, I'm the type of person where I have my color coordination, my charts and everything. And when she said that at one of our team meetings, I'm like, oh my gosh, what is the rush? What is where are we going? What's
Yeah.
So I think it's encouraged here at Vista Living to sit down and have a cup of coffee with an elder, you know, sit outside under the apricot tree and talk about just nothing and everything. And so we are very fortunate to have that here at this company.
We actually joke about that. At Sierra Vista, if we're on one of these calls and someone needs to take a break and go use the restroom goes through the whole, you got to go through the whole house. And we're like, okay, we'll see you in a half hour. So Larry, I think you had asked, if you don't live in the New Mexico area, are there standards or associations that assisted living homes qualify for to ensure? We're part of the Eden Alternative. Two of the homes, we're working on it at Hermosa, but Amanda's been very much trained in it. So it's just getting the certification. We're the only ones in New Mexico, the only two homes currently in New Mexico. I'm sure Yuda and Ruth and you guys all could probably chime in and answer that as well.
Should we tell them who we want to be when we grow up, Luke?
What?
Abasho and childcare and horses and life. There's an amazing program that I'm in love with right now. And it's a variation of, it's kind of the child to Eden Alternative, and it's called Abasho. And it started in Japan after the tsunami. And it incorporates a working restaurant, a working farm, childcare for staff and community family members, Alzheimer's care, an open art studio, you know, and their outreach, and Nicolette will love this too, is about kind of creating more equality in healthcare and the way we care for people. And it's beautiful, 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 neat program. So look them up online.
Can you spell that, Ruth?
IBASHO.
Okay. And then I know Yuda mentioned it in the chat that the greenhouse program is another one. But you go to Eden Alternative, I think it's edenalt.org. And you can find different places across the country. But yeah, there's definitely, I've said this to friends of mine, and you know, we'd be happy to if you're looking at other facilities in other areas, and you know, we'd be happy to give insight on our, you know, even call and talk to the executives. And I know there's a session that I'm participating in, I think tomorrow, about what to look for and questions to ask and stuff. It's, after doing this for 20 years, we've got a really nice panel between of us. We probably have, I don't know, 40, 50, 60 years of experience in the industry. It's amazing the questions that are asked when people tour and the ones that aren't. And so that will be an enlightening, I think, session for tomorrow that might help with that as well.
I also think there's something to be said for the fact that your owner comes in and takes out the garbage and does the dishes. And, you know, I think that is an important piece.
Yes. And also another important piece is that he invests in us as far as getting our continued education, making sure that we are all up to date in this COVID. We've had a lot of education that we've had to take our little courses and our tests, and I don't like to not pass. I'd like 100%. And when I don't, I get very cranky if
Yeah,
I have to take it more than 2 or 3 times. But it gives you that choice. You can take the test as many times as you need to, but it just keeps us abreast of what's going on and how to handle the sanitation part and keeping healthy. It's so important that he's invested in us to make sure that we are informed and educated.
You guys are embarrassing me. Stop mentioning me.
Okay, all right.
It's really you guys.
I also think what's amazing is everybody as a whole, that you guys are family and that our families have been part of Vista in a long-term deep way. I keep a card that Amanda made way back when she was about 5 and was an activities director, that she made for Morgan on his birthday. And she made a quilt that he was wrapped in when he passed, when she was about 5 and an activities director. There is such a history and a connection, and that makes a difference. It makes a difference to me.
It does. And going back to Larry's question about the organizations, I don't know that you have to be associated to an organization to get it. I think that will help hone in on it. But you really, when you go into a home, you should be able to feel it. You know, this is one of the things that we miss of not being able to give tours, because what you experience, I'm biased obviously, but what you experience in our homes is you feel it. You walk in and you're like, oh wow, like you can feel the energy. And I think that it really is just going in and being, you know, have a good list of questions that really hone in on, okay, how is my loved one going to be cared for? And to some extent, how are you going to be cared for as the loved one, as the family member? Because I know that's a big part of our focus, that this whole journey sometimes leaves behind the fact that there's someone that doesn't have dementia that's going through a difficult time. And so just having the right questions and going in and seeing a home and feeling it and meeting the people, I think can get you the same thing, because we've been doing essentially the same thing, hopefully getting better at what we do for 20 some years now. And when we met up with the Eden Alternative, it's like, oh my gosh, this is what we do. Now we get this little thing we can put on the wall and participate in things to get better. And so there's a lot of little, I think, homes out there that aren't necessarily part of big organizations that do a good job. So any other questions? Let's see here. I think I covered all of that. Amanda, Yolanda, Monica, Ruth, any final words of wisdom or thank yous? Or
I would just like to say this is the first time in about 9 months that I wear makeup and lipstick. That's probably why I was so nervous.
We wear a mask all the time. You don't need makeup and lipstick.
Go ahead, Ruth.
I was going to make a joke about Yolanda and the makeup and lipstick, but I shifted job roles, and I remember having lunch with Yuda and like being kind of stressed out about the shifting job roles. I have never thought so much about my hair in my life as COVID. I've never had to look at myself on a screen as much. It's a little scary. Go about that you have something of consequence as opposed to joking.
Very good. Okay, Yuda, I think that wraps up what we had. We're about 8 minutes early.